but tonight the topic is donor de-escalation, and we're going to talk about a variety of things that could um, go wrong at blood drives and with donors. I will tell you that after going through all this and after being at hundreds of blood drives over many years, these are all pretty rare, exceptionally rare, I would say, but still things to be mindful of.
Mm.
Speaking of being mindful, we just started this week a new donor promotional item that I am modeling here. This is the Life is Good shirt. There's two variations. The Life is Good donate blood, or sorry, Life is Good give blood. Life is Good give platelets. I'm wearing the platelets one, both the same design. Oh, and she has the blood one.
Blood one.
So if you were at a blood drive anywhere in our area over the next 2 weeks, I guess it's the week going into the Easter holiday and then the week after, we'll be handing out these shirts to all of our presenting donors at blood drives. And it's a really good material. It's different. It's thicker than the Snoopy shirts. I don't know. It's got a sporty fit.
April said too. Shout out to April. She was wearing her shirt.
Yeah, she was wearing her shirt today. So I donated platelets across the hall in between the two things. And I don't have Netflix at home. Many of you may have Netflix at home. I don't have Netflix at home, but they have Netflix here. So I watched Wake Up Dead Man, which is the Knives Out Part 3
Oh yeah,
mystery thing.
I love those.
And if you like that sort of thing, it's pretty good.
There you go.
Okay. On to the slides.
So this training is on de-escalation and emergency response. Get equipped on how to manage both the emotional and physical challenges of a blood drive, ensuring every donor feels supported, even when things go horribly wrong. Learn how to spot early warning signs of agitation and ways to diffuse it. We'll also discuss your role as a blood donor ambassador, ensuring you can lead with a calm presence during emergencies if and when they arise. So reasons donors are turned away, and some of you maybe, have experienced this before as a donor or as a volunteer. No appointment was available, did not have an appointment. Donor was not notified of cancellation. Donor was late for the appointment. Machine is not available or broken. Overbooking or out of supplies. When you have to turn away a donor, try the acknowledge, apologize, act method. Acknowledge is recognize they took time out of their day to be there. Apologize for any issues, then act. Get the donor scheduled for XY date at whatever time that works for them.
Again, I don't think things go horribly wrong very often,
Right.
but yeah, we do sometimes have to turn donors away for a variety of reasons. In real time today, actually, just this afternoon, over here near where we are, we had a pretty big blood drive at an elementary school up in Rockingham County this afternoon, and they were 8 donors in and had to discontinue and cancel the remainder of the drive because the air conditioning went out. And they were in the gym. It was a big room with a metal roof, and it got too warm. I think it shot up to like 78 degrees.
Oh, no good for the blood.
Yeah, and they had to discontinue. So all those donors coming in after that point had to be turned away. One of the many real world reasons, and it's nobody's fault, but yeah, the air went out because it was very warm today. It's been cool where we are, and it was very warm today, and the air couldn't keep up. So yes, these things can and do happen. Here's some common phrases, not positive ones, not good ones, but here's some common phrases that donors may hear at blood drives. They're maybe not as constructive and good to use as others. Again, want to highlight these are kind of what not to say. These things are said, these things pop into your head. They might all be true and accurate, but maybe not the best thing to say. We can't take walk-ins. Might be true, better way to say it. We've already met our goal. What a terrible thing to say to a donor. Might be true. But yeah, but that's not the kind of thing we would share to a presenting donor when they're ready to give. You don't have an appointment, so we can't take you today. Might be true, might be an appointment only drive, but there's better ways to say it. We're fully or overbooked. System shouldn't have let you.
Oh,
Again,
man.
it's might be true. This shouldn't, but you know, that we got to have a better way to present it. Oh, no one called you? That probably happened today at this elementary school drive. Somebody probably came in. Someone might be there right now trying to present, and they've already shut down. Oh, no one called you. Oh, we can't take you. Looks like our appointment was double booked. I don't know how often that happens, but guess it's possible two people in the same slot, or saying nothing at all. Real live donor responses that we've read, and this isn't necessarily reflective of a volunteer group or a staff group or anyone in particular, but we've had feedback where donors left drives because no one told them anything, period. They just walked in and saw and they couldn't figure it out and no one addressed them and they walked around and you know, were ready to donate, but couldn't get anyone to look them in the eye or give them any information. So yeah, sometimes saying nothing at all might be worse than some of those phrases. So we're going to flip that around now. We're going to talk about some of those commonly used phrases and how the donors would interpret it, and then you know why we shouldn't use
So donor interpretation can differ from intent. These common phrases on the screen, though operationally accurate, can unintentionally frustrate donors, discouraging future giving and damage trust. Donors often believe walk-ins are welcome, especially when they receive messages about urgent need. Of course, a blunt refusal can feel dismissive. Instead, validate their attempt to help and explain the why behind the constraint. For example, you can say, we appreciate you stopping in. Today we're at full capacity and appointments help keep donors safe and reduce wait times. Let's see what options we can offer you next. Remember, donor perception equals donor reality. Intent doesn't matter if the message lands poorly. These first moments shape whether a donor returns or not. So let's see. I think we've covered a lot of these. I don't want to be repetitive. We commonly use phrase, we can't take walk-ins. And the donor interprets it such as, what? I always walk in. Or I can't believe I rearranged my day for this. A commonly used phrase, you don't have an appointment. We can't take you today. The donor interprets it as, since when do I have to have an appointment? I always walk in due to my hectic schedule. Or I thought they needed blood. I guess mine doesn't matter.
it. Mhm.
Commonly used phrase, we have already met our goal. Hypocrite, they say. You called me to donate now. Here I am, and you won't even see me. Why couldn't they have called me? And then finally, commonly used phrases, say nothing, donors wait, and donor is ultimately turned away after waiting. Their interpretation, why couldn't they have just told me if I would be waiting this long? They seem to have forgotten about me. I wonder if they would even care if I left. They must not need blood.
I have a good friend and colleague in the Philadelphia area who's part of the call center operation, and that is a very important but thankless job. These are the good folks, the Red Crossers. Some are paid staff, many are volunteers who call people to call donors to book appointments and to confirm appointments. And they are very persistent and very good at that task. But the flip side is if we, you know, like she said, if donors are getting mixed messages, if we don't present that in the right way, because there really might be a situation where we can't take a donor because it's overbooked or they can't take walk-ins or again, the call center did such an amazing job for that particular event that there simply are no available spaces and all the beds are full. Um, you know, but we want to make sure that we're validating and thanking all those people for coming in anyway, thanking them for trying, and possibly finding an alternative means of them to donate either that day or another location or another day. But we're going to get to that. I promise we're going to turn this around Talk about positive stuff. These are some early signs of agitation that you might see in a donor. You might see these in a family member. You might see these in the person in line in front of you at the DMV. This isn't necessarily blood drive specific. Again, I've been very fortunate to go to a lot of positive blood drives with friendly, laid back donors who aren't in a hurry. But early signs of agitation in others. Verbal cues, a raised voice, an angry tone, repeated complaints. They state the same complaint over and over. Threatening or hostile language. Which again, I've never had, at least at one of these events, but it's certainly possible. Nonverbal cues, clenched fist, pacing, intense staring, invading personal space. There are environmental triggers to be aware of, such as long wait time, procedural misunderstandings that can increase donor agitation. Perfect example, some of these blood drives that we do, many of them have a big wide space with different corners or outlets or even different rooms, and a donor is checked in with us at like a welcome desk area. They're gone, they are then sent to a waiting area, some chairs, called to screening, go over from screening to the donor bed, leave the donor bed, go to some form of canteen, refreshments, recovery area. And in a perfect world, you have this nice, big, organic, large space to do that in. However, sometimes it's not a perfect world, and sometimes I've been to blood drives that were in, we'll call them cozy spaces, where the recovery area and the waiting area were really the same area, one long table where people are waiting to be called and then come back. And we've had a lot of times where a donor would come in, be ready to donate, but they see 4, 5, 6 people who they think are ahead of them. And they don't want to wait, and they get frustrated because they're there at their appointment time. In reality, there's no one waiting. We're prepared for them. But the misunderstanding is these people who are in recovery, or maybe even these people who aren't, these folks that aren't donating, they just might be emotional support or driver for a donor. They think that there's a longer wait. So again, environmental triggers. And then we want to have a proactive engagement, offer clear information and reassurance to help diffuse donor discomfort or irritation. Again, communicate if you see those early warning signs. Pick up on because a lot of these things might just be gentle misunderstandings that we can explain. Okay.
All right. Techniques for calm communication. Calm communication relies on nonverbal cues that show attentiveness and respect, paired with strong self-management that keeps interactions safe, warm, and donor-centered. These skills work together. Donors feel seen, heard, respected, and confident in the care they're receiving. This combination directly improves donor satisfaction and increases the likelihood that they would return. So techniques for calm communication, we have verbal, which an example is a calm tone, acknowledges feelings, offers choices. Then we have nonverbal, which is an open posture. I was talking about how horrible my posture is. It makes me look closed off, but open posture, safe distance, and avoid sudden movements. Control, raising voice, physically intervening, and making false promises. Make sure if you don't know the answer, you don't make something up or do an estimation. Go ask the charge nurse, how much is the time for the net? Give me a time frame. Can we take walk-ins, X, Y, and Z? Make sure that you aren't pretending as though but that you're checking in with the charge nurse so you are all on the same page.
And that's a popular question.
Right.
I hear that question all the time. How long is the wait?
Right.
Unless you really know the answer, please don't make one up.
Yeah.
You can give them a warm version of the answer, which might be like, oh, I think we're basically on schedule, let me check, or you can sometimes visually see, well, we just have 2 ahead of you, so you'd be next after this person, or 2 just went on the bus and this person's waiting. You can tell them what you know. Please don't make up There's nothing worse than being like, oh yeah, they'll be ready for you in 7 minutes or they'll be ready for you in 10 minutes. Like, unless you really, really know the answer,
Mhm.
please don't make it up. We can always check with the charge at every drive. And by the way, if you're new to the organization or new to this line of work, unfamiliar with the lingo, the charge in this instance is the phlebotomy staff member, the collection staff member, who is in charge of the event. So if you're at an event with 4 donor beds and there's 5 phlebotomy staff team members there who are collecting blood, one of them would be designated as the charge, and that person is making the minute-to-minute decisions, on how the drive will run, managing, the breaks, start time, kind of, for lack of a better word, in charge of the event on site. So it's always helpful to introduce yourself to the charge when you arrive, so you know who to ask those questions to. Because if there is a question about a delay or a wait or a walk-in, always helpful to get the information from the charge. The charge nurses at these events frequently have um, updated real-time, computer information on exactly how long the wait is and how many more donors are there. And if somebody changes an appointment, they sometimes have that real-time information that they can access, which is going to be a lot more accurate than what we have on our paper schedule up front.
You know what this reminds me of, and I said this in the earlier one. When you go to a restaurant and they give you a wait time and
Yeah.
it's incorrect,
Right.
they say, oh, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
My partner and I went to a brunch place, love brunch in Greensboro, and we were told 20 minutes. We were there for over an hour and watched the hostess say different times to different people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Here, you have an hour wait, only 30, and it was two folks coming in.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
folks, and you look at the wait list and you're 17,
Right.
and so it was like,
Just making it up.
she's making it up. Just making it up. Nothing grinds my gears more than going to a restaurant and they make it up. Like, I don't believe you.
So don't be that person. Don't make
be
it up.
Don't do
Don't make
it.
it up. You can give them warm, friendly,
Yes.
accurate information. Be encouraging. Please don't make it up. Is that all for this slide?
Yes.
Okay. So de-escalation methods. Again, if something's about to escalate, we hope it never does. We hope you never have to use any of this. We hope this is all just superfluous. But if you're in a situation at a blood drive or elsewhere, or tonight at dinner, or at that restaurant,
Yeah, don't go to them.
at that brunch place in Greensboro,
Great brunch.
and you need to de-escalate. Thing one, listening and empathy. Be an attentive listener and allow donors to express their frustrations without interruption. I'm so bad at this. I have all these thoughts in my head and I want to be helpful, and I tend to interject before I should. It's something I'm working on.
Sometimes I write things down.
That's better.
Like my thoughts, my anxious thoughts, just
Yeah.
write them down and then I can remember
Yeah,
after
yeah.
they're done.
Right. Yeah. And you don't have to interrupt. Yeah. So please let the donors express appropriately. Show understanding. Use phrases like, I realize how frustrating that must be for you, to acknowledge their feelings. I like to say, that sounds frustrating. Gosh, I'm so sorry about that. It's important to let people know that you are listening and that you are prepared to assist as you can. Doesn't necessarily mean that you agree. You don't have to agree or even fully understand someone to be helpful. But
That's so
important that you listen, acknowledge their feelings, because who knows what they went through to get to that blood drive that
Right.
day. Pretty simple for me being in this building all the time to go donate blood, but that may be a high anxiety, a dramatic thing for a lot of people, first time donors, to make that step.
Mhm.
2, communication, shift from no to how can we help? So instead of shutting things down, see if you can help. Even if we can't take that donor, see if there's a way that you can help. Instead of denying requests, focus on finding solutions, offer clear solutions, and present options to the donor, which can help them feel more in control. If this particular drive didn't work out, We might have one tomorrow
Mm.
or the next day or next week at the same time or next month at the same time. Or I had a thing we were at last week and we couldn't take somebody and I was like, oh, and we can sign you up for another one. And by the way, there's this great t-shirt promo that's starting on Monday. And they're like, oh, all day Monday, that book now out
Yeah.
is very helpful. Those are at most of our drives. If they're not, you can always get on the good old World Wide Web on the internet from any internet device and look up, type it, go to Red Cross Blood and then type in the zip code and you can typically find an open blood drive, maybe even later that same day. So do try and help instead of just shutting it down. And then maintain composure. Stay calm even if the donor is upset. This helps to diffuse the situation. Don't take frustrations personally. Understand the donor's anger is not directed at you. They're not upset at you. They don't even know you. They might be upset. They might have good reason to be upset. The old phrase was deflect and diminish. We like to say reflect and diminish, meaning you know what I mean? Listen, hear those things, acknowledge that they're frustrating, like, oh man, that's so frustrating. I'm so sorry to hear that. Thank you for coming down here. How can I help?
Right.
How can I keep the energy low? What can I do to help? There might be nothing you can do to help, and it might be they don't even, expect you to give an alternative solution. Some folks come in and they just, low iron, for example. And that might be very frustrating to someone that carved out time in their day to do this.
Especially if they come to give blood during like a A1C month and
Yeah.
they were looking really forward to that.
Yeah, yeah,
That can be discouraging.
exactly. Because then they have to wait. It does happen. Bottom line, make sure that we're part of the solution and not the problem, so that we don't escalate it. Listen to those concerns, reflect
Mhm.
those concerns, but diminish it. Don't try and escalate it. Keep everything nice and calm. Because again, that last line, they're not upset with you. They probably don't even know you.
Right.
We're the fun folks, right? We're the smiling people at the door. We're handing out Nutter Butters at juice bars and saying, yes, we have this in medium. Yes, we have this in 2XL. I'll hold one for you. We're that team. So
The welcome committee.
we're the welcome committee. We should be the ones that they want to see. Okay, boundaries.
Setting boundaries respectfully. Respectful boundary setting is a balancing act that requires both discipline and genuine human empathy. It is the ability to maintain the integrity of our Red Cross mission standards without compromising the dignity of the person standing in front of us. Firm but neutral language focuses on what needs to happen, not on what the donor did wrong. This keeps the donor from feeling criticized, which makes them more willing to adjust their behavior. Let's see. So be clear and firm without confrontation. Example, I want to help you, but I need you to lower your voice so we can talk. Maintain that personal space like we talked about, a safe distance, reducing tension and avoid appearing threatening. Avoid that power struggle. Focus on resolution and connection, not control. Use non-threatening body language. Avoid crossing arms, which shows that you're not open to the conversation. Pointing, we talked about this earlier. I'm from New Jersey. We just don't point. Just avoid the pointing at all in all cases. Or sudden movements. Speak clearly and simply. Use a calm and measured tone. Avoid jargon or complex instructions.
By the way, my good friend Krista Connolly here did an excellent presentation on this. Is it okay I call you out again?
Yeah.
Did an excellent presentation for our team last week, week ago Monday, on setting boundaries. And it was really good. It was kind of this slide and this thought kind of, blown up to several slides and several thoughts. But I'm not someone who's great at setting boundaries. So I really, I took some notes and I got
pointing at me.
I know. I have I think I shared this in your presentation, but I have someone I know who is who's difficult to communicate with. She also happens to be related to me, so I don't see her
No
very
names,
often.
no names.
She lives in another state. We're about the same age. We were pretty close when we were younger. She's my cousin, but yeah, but she's kind of a difficult adult human, and anyway, I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, but I found that I need to. She tends to be very negative over
Yeah.
phone messaging and text, and I was like, I need to start setting some boundaries with this person.
Yeah.
Because I feel compelled to respond to this negativity, but I need to start de-escalating some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing about boundaries is these, it could be people in your family, it could be your partner. You have to establish strong, clear boundaries, not just ones that you have in your head, but also establishing them out, out loud to the person you're speaking with. My mother and I have terrible boundaries,
Yeah.
For years. And there's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt there. Don't we love parents? And so I'm constantly chatting with her about, okay, I'm available during these time of day, and that's when I can call you because I will be busy X, Y, and Z. And so just making sure they're clear to her, but it's calm and it's respectful of her. But just making sure that it's known.
Yeah, you're setting boundaries while not escalating.
Right, right.
See, real world applications all over the place for this stuff. So validation and redirection. Some action statements that you can use. I can see that you're upset. I can see that you're frustrated. I get it. Let's talk about what we can do to help. How can I help? That sounds frustrating. That's the one I always go to. Gosh, that sounds frustrating. I am so sorry about that. Is there anything I can do to help? Validation. There it is. There it is again. That sounds really frustrating. I understand why you'd feel that way. Redirect focus. Guide the person toward a constructive topic or action. And that constructive action might be, we can reschedule you for tomorrow or for this other event. Or it might be that they just want to talk about how frustrating it is, and you can listen and validate, and then maybe talk about the weather or
Weather is always a good one.
it's always a good one.
Just neutral.
I'm a movie guy. I don't do TV, but I love movies, so I like to talk to people about movies, particularly if anybody comes in with like a movie themed T-shirt or some kind of thing like that. I'm like, oh hey, seen any good movies lately? Let's talk about stuff like that.
And if you ended the conversation with movies or the weather, you know that it's been de-escalated. They're sticking around to chat with you. And yeah, venting sometimes doesn't mean advice. It means just, I need somewhere to put this. And can you hold it for me? And then I'm gonna go.
Both men and women like to have their shoes complimented and noticed.
That's a good one.
There's something
Yes, I love a good compliment.
There's some wisdom I've learned. That is a good neutral across the board, no matter who you're talking to. Small children like to have their shoes noticed.
Unless they're
Nice
Crocs.
shoes. Where'd you
Just
get them? No, even Crocs. Everybody likes to have their shoes noticed.
I wonder what that means psychologically.
That can just be a nice, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a nice neutral conversation starter or somewhere to redirect it. Wait, now those are great kicks. That's something. Do people still say that? That's my generation. Good kicks.
Not sure.
Good kicks. Where'd you get them? And then offering choices. Let me get our charge nurse to help you with that issue. That's something we have to do a lot. Yeah, let me sit tight. I'm not sure, but let me get someone to help you.
Right.
And at that point, you can appropriately, pull somebody over to answer the question more fully, particularly if it's like a medical question or something that's above our grade. But please do try and offer those words of assistance.
All right. So changing the conversation. When someone is escalating, they are often stuck. Their brain is flooded with cortisone and adrenaline, locking them into a fight or flight loop. By shifting the topic or the tone, you break the repetitive loop. always validate before you pivot. So never skip the I hear you phase. If you change the subject before they feel heard, they will likely escalate to get your attention back. So, we're talking about compliments and the weather and movies. Make sure you de-escalate the situation and you validated, affirm their feelings before you go into a different topic. And usually you can see cues that that they're not as upset as they once was.
Yes.
Or once were. So if appointments are open, so be mindful of the donor's time and effort to donate, to get them with in a meaningful way, making the most out of our conversations. So if appointments are open later, you can say, thank you for coming in today. Unfortunately, we don't have any appointments right now, but I do have an appointment in a couple of hours. I'd be happy to put you in for that if that time works for you. If no same day slots are available, thank you for coming in today. I'm so sorry to share that our appointments are full for today. I'd love to help you get set up for an appointment soon, and then proceed to use the Book Now app or the blood donor app as well. And so if you're not familiar with Book Now, just shoot us a message and maybe we can get some documentation or, some information to you. But also if you are, there will be tablets where donors can, what's the word? Get an appointment for the future donation.
Yeah.
Or there may be QR codes in the canteen that they can scan and do it for themselves. They may need some guidance, especially if they come and they're walking and they're being turned away. Definitely be that person to guide them through the process so they don't feel alone.
My father donates frequently, refuses to make an appointment. I don't think he's ever made an appointment. But he's been turned away from things too, because he'll just show up and there aren't any slots. But I will also say he is also of he's retired, which helps, but he's like, oh, okay, well, when's the next one? Do you have one tomorrow? Do you have one the next day? He's usually pretty easygoing about trying another one. And then, grabs a juice and a couple cookies while he's there. Okay. Safety considerations. Okay. This is the serious stuff. Again, hoping that you never have to deal with any of these things. Although we discovered earlier today, 2 of these things have happened just in the last week or 2 here. But these are rare. So volunteers should never place themselves in harm's way. So thing 1, don't ever place yourself in harm's way as a volunteer in any of these situations. Safety first. Recognizing when to disengage. If a situation escalates or if a person becomes violent, again, I've never seen that at blood drive, but I'm sure depending on where it is and the type of environment, it's certainly possible. Know when to exit and to seek assistance. Knowing the environment, be aware of exits, obstacles, and emergency protocols. Brick and mortar Red Cross buildings are going to have their own emergency action plan, EAP, emergency exits. If you're in any kind of school or business or church, they will have one too. Not a terrible idea to familiarize yourself. When you go in and get set up, always check to see where the bathrooms are. Even if you don't need it, some of the donors will ask where the closest bathroom is, where the exit is, just in case there was ever an emergency and you had to use it. And then calling for support, knowing how and when to call for supervisory help. Real world story happened 6 days ago in this state. We were at a large blood drive at an elementary school, and again, this was a first for me. We'd never called 911 at one of these that I'd been at. And there was a gentleman who came in, first-time donor. He was the husband of the sponsor. So the sponsor was an administrator at the school. I don't know if she was an assistant principal or something. Very sweet lady, but she was the one that kind of set it up for us. They had a lot of kids present, a lot of 5th graders, like 10-year-olds, I guess, 10, 11-year-olds. Is that right?
No.
Yeah, I think it's 10-year-olds, I think. Yeah, because I was 8th, 3rd grade. So yeah, they're like 10. And they had, set it up and they set up all the chairs and set up all the cookies and juice. And they ate some of the cookies and drank some of the juice. just to make sure it wasn't poison, I guess. But we had all these kids in the area, and and most of the donors were all people that work at the school or parents of the kids. They had a great turnout. They had over 52 presenting donors. And it was about halfway through, and this gentleman, spouse of the sponsor, came in to donate. He'd never donated before. Came in, did the rapid pass on his phone, checked in, donated blood, whole blood donation out of his right arm. Everything went good. He was finished. He had his hand up doing this one, this thing, while they were bandaging him up, and he lost consciousness. He passed out. It was like, doesn't happen often. Sometimes it happens. Particularly at risk for first-time donors, people that have never done it before. So he went out for a few seconds. Staff was totally professional. They all went over, sir. They woke him up. And when he woke up, he kind of jerked awake in the same way that my dog jerks awake when he's asleep on the couch. And you startle. I don't know if all dogs do that. My dog jerks awake every time. He's like paranoid, having bad dreams. But this guy jerked awake, and his body really kind of, spasmed, like he was very confused for a second as to where he was, and then realized where he was and what had happened. Didn't even realize he passed out. His wife ran over. Everybody was cool. He was fine. He was talking. He was sitting up. He was concerned, had he already donated? Did he finish? Yeah, you already finished. Everything's fine. They're bandaging him up. Ask him what he ate earlier that day. Was he feeling okay? They said, we're going to keep you in the bed for just a couple extra minutes. Can we bring you juice? Can we bring you water? Can we bring you a fan? And while they're talking, he went out a second time. Mm-hmm. And that, I learned that day, is apparently extremely unusual and a good reason to call an ambulance. So they called a non-emergency line and had an ambulance come and check him out. Again, he was fine. Everything was fine. My role in that was waving down the ambulance outside to let him know where we were in the school, and then also, communicating to all the children who were, what happened? Is he okay? Oh my gosh, is that guy going to die? What's wrong? How 10-year-olds think. And my role was kind of like, oh yeah, no, he's absolutely fine. And and he just got a little dizzy and got a little confused, and they're going to come check him out, make sure he's fine. And he was fine.
You were comforting.
But yeah, I was comforting, and then we talked about well, I probably should have talked about shoes. We all talked about the new Mario movie.
Oh yeah, 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way.
It's going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about the new Mario movie with the 10-year-olds. But that was something that I think, for example, that was something I'd never experienced before. We called 911 and had an ambulance come out to a blood drive. Again, kind of unusual, especially that he couldn't stay awake and he went out twice. But I think we all did our role, the staff included. Everybody did their part to not to keep the energy low and grounded, and everything's fine. And it was. So yeah, hope you never have to, but you might have to call for support.
Right. And be, like I said, that comforting person at the front.
Yeah.
Who, if there are children or anybody's concerned, they can come up to you and you can affirm it.
Yeah. And we thanked him as he left, and he felt so bad about what happened. Oh no, thanks for coming in. Hey, we're glad you're okay. Yeah.
All right. So situational awareness. One skill that is the key to safety is situational awareness. This increases your ability to identify what could pose a potential threat to you, helps you be more present and better aware of your surroundings. Situational awareness is paying attention to what's happening around you so you can decide what to do next. So always be alert to how the donors look, how the donors move, how the donors speak. Changes in behavior. Make sure to trust your instincts. If something feels off, act.
Very good advice. Types of emergencies. Again, we're going to knock on this stuff. These are rare. We hope you never have to have an emergency at a blood drive. But like we just said, it's possible. Types of emergencies: fire, severe weather. Which we seem to get all the time now. I feel like where we live here in East Coast, I feel like we're getting more and more severe weather than ever before. But yeah, there was one of our colleagues, I don't think she's on tonight, Lori, who lives in Winston-Salem. Their donor center just a couple weeks ago, there was a tornado that came through. It didn't touch down or hurt anything in the area, but there was a tornado watch, and they were at their fix site with I think one or two people in procedure, and they got the alarm, the alert that they had to disconnect everyone and move to the basement as part of their emergency action plan for severe weather. And I've never had that happen at a pub drive, but it happened just a couple weeks ago here in North Carolina.
And if you don't have a basement, an interior room with no windows.
Yes, exactly.
Just a side note.
An interior room with no windows. Here in this building, it's actually, I don't know what it's called, the round room is what we call it, but it's down the hall here. There's no windows. It's like in the center of the building. And that's the emergency location here. Be aware of where yours is in your home. I think in a home and even an apartment, it's frequently like a bathroom or closet, like an inside space.
Underneath the steps, sometimes there's a closet. That's the best one on the first floor, lowest floor.
Carry pump.
Yeah.
Yeah, the closet under the stuff. Suspicious packages, again, not something that I've ever thought about.
But if you're
At a
working
blood
the
drive?
front desk of
Yeah.
a donor center,
Yeah,
be aware.
yeah. If things are being delivered, if you're in a very large public space, again, like a college campus, yeah, something certainly to be aware of. And then finally, violence and threats. Again, we hope we never have to deal with any of this, but be aware of those type of things. If you were to ever be at an event, be it a blood drive or anywhere, and you became aware of any of those types of emergencies, please notify emergency services. Follow your emergency action plan for whatever facility you're in. And wherever you are, I'm sure there is one. You have to ask the right person for what it is. But yeah, there is going to be an evacuation emergency plan at any facility that you would be at.
All right, so this is our last slide, everybody.
Last slide, you're almost there.
If you feel like saying total failure or disaster, say instead service interruption. The psychological reasoning there maintains scope, implies this is temporary and fixable. If you feel like saying ASAP or hurry up, and say instead high priority or time sensitive. ASAP triggers frantic energy and priority implies plan. If you feel like saying, I'm sorry, I don't know, say instead, I am confirming that detail now. And then the psychological reasoning is because it replaces a dead end with a proactive search for the truth. And then finally, if you feel like saying, don't panic, say instead, let's focus on the next step. It tends to say, if you say don't panic, people tend to panic. So
Yeah.
just don't even,
It's true.
just don't incorporate that
Don't
into your
put
life.
that into anyone's head.
And
There's
this
no reason to panic.
even says it on the screen, psychological reasons. Telling people don't panic often confirms that there is a reason to panic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just pointed at the screen.
Like
I'm
tell someone to
sorry.
calm down. Yeah, why would what are you insinuating?
I wonder if this can also be taken into consideration with virtual, because look at me getting real close and pointing at the thing, Just a side note for all personal use.
On the morning version of this, we had a more elaborate sound setup. We had microphones and headphones, and we were trying to do at least for us on our side, a more elaborate sound immersive experience for this presentation. And guess what? Nothing but echo, and reverb.
Knocking over the mic.
Yeah, it was kind of a mess, but it was not a total failure or a disaster. It was just a service interruption,
Yep.
like you said, and we got through it, and everybody was sweet about it. And a few of our colleagues were on. They were like, "Hey, I got a couple texts, under the table, like, hey, sounds way off,
Oh,
got the
gosh.
mic."
Cut the mic.
Cut the mic, cut it off. But yeah, it was just service interruption, and we fixed it. And a minute later, we were back
And we
on.
did not panic. We just took a pause, put it on mute.
We didn't panic.
Move forward.
We didn't panic. So yeah, so these are all great things. And I can't stand it when I'm in any kind of business and someone goes, I don't know.
Yeah, that's just do
I
not.
don't know.
definitely find an alternative to, I don't know.
I always want to say, who would know? I don't know, man. And that, drum roll, brings us to the end of Caring Communication for March 2026. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your
Yes.
time. If you are a volunteer with us, please make sure you put in 1 full hour of training time in your volunteer connection account. If you don't put in your own time, please contact your volunteer engagement rep. Might be me, might be
Might be
Krista,
me.
might be Rubette. Thanks
Hey,
for joining us, Rubette. But contact your volunteer engagement person, and they'd be happy to. I'm going to speak for them. Yeah, they'd be happy to
I'm
put
sure
that in
they'll
for you
assist.
for your one time. We're not going to rush anybody off. I realize some of you are probably finishing dinner or about to start dinner. But Kristen and I will be on for several more minutes. If anyone has any questions or comments or things they would like to discuss. Otherwise, you are all free to go and enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your March. When we see you again, it'll be April 1st. No fooling. I just thought that
There
just
you
now
go.
thought that.
Gotta add it.
Just now thought that up.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful evening.